So you've heard of this thing called cloud training and on-premise training, and you're probably confused of what the difference between the two are. Hi, my name is Raghava Kashyapa, CEO of Qualitas Technologies. In this video, I'm going to break out the common difference between an edge-based training system and a cloud-based training system for an AI-based machine vision project. So before we get started with our training itself, let's look at the different steps that is involved in implementing an AI-based system or a solution. The first step is in the data preparation activity. So before you actually implement a project, you need to ensure that you have collected enough data, that's training data, because an AI system actually works by examples. And examples in this case is actually going to be input data. So the data that you feed to the system is then going to be used to learn. And that's the process called machine learning. Now, this process of machine learning, especially when it comes to visual inspection, is actually a very high intense or computational intensive operation. And in these cases, you need specialized hardware, maybe GPU based or certain, high computational hardware with large amounts of memory and processing power to be able to do these. And it's not uncommon to hear about training cycles which take days or sometimes multiples of days, and before it actually crunches all these input training data and then comes up with this intelligent decision-making engine called AI model. Now this training is historically being done on-premise. So you have a PC which is lying on your infrastructure, you own it, and it's probably an expensive piece of hardware that you're using, and you're using that for training. Now with the availability of cloud computational services, your dependency on on-premise hardware is no longer required. So you could actually hire or rent out computational resources on a platform like Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and run these trainings on the latest compute, which makes this training much faster. So you don't need to really buy it, but you could actually rent this out. And that's the biggest advantage when it comes to training infrastructure on the cloud. Systems today are moving to more of a hybrid approach where the training is done on the cloud, but the actual inspection or inferencing, which is less computationally intensive, is done on the edge. And you'd want to do this on the edge because the latency, especially in production environments, is going to be high when you have to actually send an image to the cloud, a server, which is probably sitting hundreds of miles away, and then the result has to come back. And then by then, the latency is too late for the decision that needs to be taken to reject a part, for instance. So the hybrid approach is, in my opinion, probably the best approach to use, where you don't have to invest in heavy training infrastructure. You can use the cloud infrastructure to perform your training, build your model, do all the heavy lifting, and then use this lightweight computational edge device which is sitting on premise right next to your assembly line, and then doing the inferencing or the decision making after the model has been trained. Hope this piece of video was useful, and I'm looking to interact with you more in the coming days. Thank you.